Hi YouTube fam, this might be the last video of mine that you watch because I am cursing Netanyahu. This is a three-part series where I introduce you to the formulae of a 3,000-year-old curse for Netanyahu. Yes, after the ICJ ruling that he is occupying Palestinian territories illegally and that he's committing acts against the genocide convention. Yeah, curse Netanyahu. So if I lose followers, it was nice knowing you. It was nice having you. If I gain followers, hello, welcome. Let's curse Netanyahu together. And I'm just going to let the videos play. Let me know what you think, if there's anything that I should add or detract or whatever. Love you guys. Are you interested in authentic Canaanite curses? Well, I rescripted a few from 3,000 years ago for Netanyahu. And when I get done here and home and cleaned up, I am going to give you the formula so you can curse Netanyahu yourself. Authentically from Canaan 3,000 years ago? Yes, please. Well, hello, Witch Talk. Did you say that you would like to curse Netanyahu with a 3,000-year-old formulaic curse straight from the heart of Canaan, you know, the land he's trying to conquer? Yeah, babes, I got your back. Here are a list of items that you will need for your baneful magic. Pause to read. This is not an exhaustive explanation. I would expect that you can individualize this curse to your liking as a practitioner. I don't need to remind you to cleanse, to protect yourself, your area, etc., or remind you that, do what you're comfortable doing. Don't go beyond that. Use the tools and the ingredients that you have on hand. The first thing that we'll do is inscribe Netanyahu's name and birth date onto a piece of paper. You could also choose to use bay leaves if you have them on hand. If you do have bay leaves, you could write each individual action on it and then burn it as you recite each line. Or write it on paper, whatever, dealer's choice. You can burn the paper, put it in a jar, add other baneful ingredients that I don't need to mention because I'm sure you know. You could bury it. Again, this is going to be to your preference. If you happen to have any materials with a connection to him in order to tag him, that would be perfect, but it's unlikely that you will. Don't forget, you also can print a picture and add that to your jar or burn it. Shoot, honestly, you could write his name on your foot and then walk your ass around and set your intention as you're walking, and then when it's off of your foot, intention set. Curse coming at you, babe. Whatever you do, let those intentions be very direct and let your comfort level set the mood and the spirit of your ritual, okay? Ancient practitioners in Canaan would also take their hand and place it upon their throat or their nap shoe where the soul resides for more resonance. You can do that while you're visualizing for more bang for your buck. Here's your curse. I, Ryan, child of Asher, call upon the ancient deities of Canaan, the Elohim, 70 gods of Asher and El. I beseech you, hear my plea. May Resheph bring about plague upon Netanyahu. May Charan bring about the crushing of his head. Yea, may Baal of Mount Zaphon, rider of the clouds, bring about devastation upon Netanyahu and his cohorts. May the sisters Anat and Athtart bring relentless sorrow and despair to Netanyahu's house. May Asherah, the tree of life, bring destruction to Netanyahu's lineage and uproot his family tree. Let Mot feast upon Netanyahu's life source until he becomes one with death. With one lip to Shamayim and one lip to Yamayim, let Netanyahu's life source be swallowed into the gullet of death and slide deep into his belly. May Netanyahu's reign be poor. May he never take up residency in a palace. Shepash, be judicious and judge Netanyahu accordingly, and may the goddess and gods of Canaan come to claim what is theirs. From Nehar to Yam, Canaan will be freed. And you can burn your paper, seal your jar, whatever. I thank you, B'nai Elohim, for your presence and power. Resheph, Charan, Baal, Anat, Athtart, Asherah, Mot, and Shepash, and El. I am grateful for your assistance, honor, and might. May your blessings continue to guide and protect me. As I close this ritual, I bid farewell to the divine beings, return to your realms with my gratitude and respect. May the sacred space be cleansed and the circle be opened yet unbroken. By the power of the gods, it is so. Now, if you feel at all exhausted, that is to be expected. Just make sure you ground yourself, get something to drink, have a little bite to eat if you can. I almost forgot to add L. I just realized. So yeah, that's the curse. Let me know how you feel and tell me how it goes and what you did differently and what you added and if I missed anything. I handcrafted a 3,000-year-old formulaic curse for Netanyahu from Canaan, and I am going to read to you from the book Religious Text from Ugaritic so you can see where I got the excerpts from. The first one is from the Baal cycle of myths. This is about Baal Hadad, the fertility, war, and storm god, and his dying and rising cycle, which mimics fertility rituals, right? May Choran smash, O Yam. May Choran smash your head. Athart, the name of Baal, your skull. May you fall down in the prime of your life, empty-handed and humiliated. Oh, I love that. Now, this excerpt I actually got from the Bible. So this is from Habakkuk 3 verses 5. And if you read the Hebrew, you will see that Resheph and Deber, two gods from Canaan, are mentioned. Eventually they're demythologized, but in the time, if you went into the context of when Habakkuk was written, which is one of the older books, not oldest, one of the older books in the Bible, this was seen as war language with Yahweh marching with his brethren who were going to help him in war because they did work together. They weren't always fighting. It's, complicated. They're just like humans. Trust me. Habakkuk 3 verses 5. Before him went Deber, pestilence, and followed Resheph, which they call fever, but that's Resheph as God, at his feet. So Yahweh is marching with pestilence and plague before him, two very familiar gods in Canaan. So at the time this was written, people would have understood what was happening, that Yahweh was with his divine council, with his pantheon of brethren, gearing up for war. Shit's bananas. This next excerpt is from the story of King Keret. Such an intriguing story where we see dream and dream interpretation. King Keret loses all his children, so he has nobody to take the throne. But he is blessed with children from Asherah, and he promises that if he gets his bride, has children, and is able to continue on his lineage, that he will give all these gifts to Asherah. He doesn't hold true to his vow, and it's a problem. So I'm just a tiny little part. And Athrat, her name is Athrat or Asherah, Athrat recalled his vow and the goddess his promise. And she lifted up her voice and cried, "Look, I pray, has Keret broken or the king altered his vow? So shall I break my promise." So she promised that she would give him lineage, that she would let him have babies, but he did not uphold his vow. And so she broke that vow for him. And yes, death and destruction came. So yeah, what mommy gives, mommy can take away. This next section is from the Baal cycle of myths. It's about Anat, and she is the goddess of war, hunting, and fertility of the herd. And you're going to see why she is so fierce. This stuff gives me like goosebumps just thinking about it. And lo, Anat fought in the valley. She battled between the two towns. She smote the people of the seashore. She destroyed the men of the sunrise. Beneath her like balls were heads. Above her like locusts were palms. Like grasshoppers, heaps of palms of warriors. She fixed heads to her back. She attached palms to her girdle. Her knees she steeped in the blood of soldiers, her thighs in the gore of warriors. With shafts she drove out the old men, with string of her bow the townsfolk. And lo, Anat came to her house. The goddess went down to her palace. But she was not sated with her fighting in the valley, nor her battling between the towns. She set chairs for warriors. She put tables for armies, footstools for heroes. Fiercely she fought and looked. Anat battled and considered. Her liver shook with laughter. Her heart was filled with joy, the liver of a gnat with triumph, as she steeped her knees in the blood of soldiers, her thighs in the gore of warriors. Until she was sated, she fought in the house. She battled between the tables. From the house of the blood of soldiers was wiped clean, oil of peace poured into a bowl. Virgin Anat washed her hands, her fingers, the beloved of the powerful one. She washed her hands of the blood of warriors, her fingers of the gore of soldiers. She set chairs in order, the tables in rows. Footstools she set by footstools. She drew water and she washed herself with dew of heaven, oil of earth, the rain of the charioteer of the clouds, dew which heaven poured upon her, rain with which the stars anointed her. She made herself beautiful with murex, whose source is 1,000 acres in the sea. And then she took a lyre and she began to sing. Basically, don't piss her off, because once she gets started, she enjoys the slaughter. I'm sorry, I hate to admit that, but you saw how she was ghoulishly laughing, and she wasn't sated until she followed this ritual. And after this ritual of destruction, what did she do? She has the ability to pour out peace upon the earth. Now think about that. She wasn't simply a goddess of war. She was a bigger archetype than that. Okay, this part is also from the Baal cycle of myths. This is when Baal Hadad defeats Yam, the dragon of chaos. Remember, he has to create order. These maces that Baal Hadad uses were handcrafted by Kothar Wahasis, who is the ambidextrous god. Your name is All Driver. So this is the name of one of the maces. All Driver, drive Yam away. Drive Yam from his throne. Nehar from the siege of his dominion. You must sleep from the hand of Baal like a falcon from his fingers. Strike the skull of Prince Yam, the brow of ruler Nehar. Let Yam collapse in a heap and let him fall to the ground. Then the mace leapt from the hand of Baal like a falcon from his fingers, and it struck the skull of Prince Yam, the brow of ruler Nehar. Yam collapsed in a heap. He fell to the ground. His joints trembled, and his visage was discomposed. Baal gathered up and drank Prince Yam to the dregs. So homie crushed his skull, and then Baal drank a river like. This imagery is so freaking cool. This is for Athtar, another portion of the Baal cycle of myths. Athtar is a war goddess in Canaan, and if her name sounds familiar, because Athtar, Astarte, Ishtar are kind of all iterations of Ishtar, that war goddess, Ishtar and Anna. By name, Athtar chided him. Dry him up, O valiant Baal. She's talking about Yam, the god of river and sea. Dry him up, O charioteer of the clouds. So she's encouraging him to defeat Yam, which Baal does. He dries him up and he dies. This will probably be my last excerpt because we're at 8 minutes. This is about Mot, and Mot is speaking to Baal. Mot is the god of death who kills Baal because that's part of the dying and rising cycle. And he says this. Though you smote Litan, the wriggling serpent, finished off the writhing serpent encircler with 7 heads, the skies will be hot, they will shine. Because when Baal dies, everything goes into a season of drought. He's the fertility god of rain, so the rain bringer is no more. He's down under. When I tear you into pieces, I shall devour you, elbows, blood, and forearms. You will indeed go down into the throat of divine Mot, into the maw of the beloved of El, the hero. If you would like more information on ancient Canaanite practices, I recommend the book The Horned Altar, Rediscovering and Rekindling Canaanite Magic, as well as just reading for yourself the ancient Ugaritic texts. So here are pictures of these 2 books, as well as I said before, in my archive.org, I have many, many books about Canaan. Love you guys. If you have any questions, please let me know. Curse Netanyahu. Curse Netanyahu.